this week's culinary arts class. This week we'll be making taquitos, also known as flautas, okay? This is a tortilla shell, a soft tortilla shell. It could be corn or it can be flour, and you fill it with a variety of fillings, right? So you could use taco meat, right? With ground beef and taco seasoning, or whatever type of meat you use, which lately for the last few months I've been veering away from the ground beef, and so my substitute, or basically my go-to I should say, is either ground chicken or ground turkey. You can use shredded chicken breast, or shredded chicken period, or else you can go the vegan or maybe even vegetarian route and even do it with just refried beans, okay? So this one that we're going to make today, guys, has got the refried beans. I've never had refried beans before, at least I don't think that I have, and if I have, maybe it was by mistake, maybe, you know, going out to dinner and maybe having a good nacho or something and they added it in there. But when I looked up the recipe, it seemed very simple, and so we're going to make these from scratch. We're not going to do the whole can situation, okay? And when I was looking at the recipe and sort of thinking of what this is like, it almost seems like if you like burritos, right? Like the filling that's in a burrito, that's basically what it appears to be, okay? So let me go ahead and show you guys some of the ingredients. But before I do, you already know what I'm going to say. Wash your hands. Be sure to get in between those fingernails, okay? Now that I said that, okay, I'm not going to wait for you to come back this time. You can go ahead and pause. Wash your hands, get in between those fingernails, dry your hands good. If you've got on any clothes that might be overlapping or that you just need to sort of raise up a little bit, you go ahead and do that, okay? So my people, the recipe calls for 2 cans of kidney beans, okay? So I've got my kidney beans here, okay? Got 1 can, and I've got the second can. Because of the day and age that we are living in right now, there are a maximum on certain items, and kidney beans were one. So I basically had to get 2 different type of chili beans, and one of them had a little chili sauce in it already. I usually don't like things like this, so I just went ahead and rinsed that off, okay? I drained the kidney beans, and then I rinsed them several times just to get any, you know, residue and the liquid that was inside the can off of that, okay? So I got that. I also am going to use lime juice, and it says a half of a lime, but again, I think that you can maybe just eyeball it, right? Maybe start with maybe a tablespoon and just keep adding until it's your liking, okay? The recipe also calls for 2 garlic cloves, okay? Obviously peeled, right? And then we also have here where it says cumin and it says chili powder, but what we're going to do, my peoples, we're just going to use a chili seasoning packet, okay? Because it already has the cumin in it, and obviously it already has a chili powder in it, okay? And this will give it a nice little flavor, okay? And that is basically it for the refried beans, okay? So I have my garlic here, okay? My fresh garlic. And I guess that you guys can use really minced garlic. You can really use what you want to use. Maybe you can even use garlic powder if you have that on hand. But this is a way that I just end up getting those cloves off, right? Just take a knife, find that little crease, just crack right into it, and I just sort of open it right up like that, okay? And now I'll just show you. And it just came out nice and easy, okay? And because I'm nice like that, okay, I got 2 off at the same time, okay? So my people, I'm just going to go ahead and get the skin off of this. Okay, so just bear with me now. And actually, you should be doing this as well, my people. And I love, love, love garlic, okay? I love the smell of it when it's cooked, definitely, okay? And I definitely love the taste of it. One of these days, I am actually going to make some homemade garlic butter. And I'm sure that would be delicious, okay? So my people, I have my garlic cloves, okay, already skinned and peeled. And so what I like to do now, my people, is I'm just going to go ahead and lower my camera for you guys a little bit, just so you can sort of see what I'm doing and what I've got going on here. You know I always have a paper towel on hand, so I'm going to go ahead and get that now. Okay? Got my paper towel on hand. Okay, my people, so what I'm going to do here is I just usually like to take my knife and I'm just going to apply some pressure, okay? Just going to apply some pressure, and you'll basically hear it. Okay, do you hear that? Okay, so see, I've just smashed it, okay? Go ahead and do it on this other side here. So it smashes it right open, okay? And once it's smashed like this, my people, I'm just going to basically dice it up some. Okay? Slice it right up. And you can do this as thick or as thin as you want it, okay? So bam. Okay? And it says 2, but like I said, you guys can really put however much that you want to put in it, okay? So that's that. Okay, my people, so the recipe calls also for a couple tablespoons of canola oil, but I am going to use actually some grapeseed oil here, okay? And I am just going to put a little bit. And if I were to measure this, I'm going to probably say that probably was about a tablespoon, maybe even a little less, okay? So I'm going to just go ahead. And now my stove right now, my people, is on medium, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and scoop these delicious pieces of garlic, okay? And my people, I also like to take off those little ends, little brown ends on them. And again, some people may cook with it. I do not and am not, okay? Bam. And this seems like such a small amount here. But, again, I'm just going to follow the recipe. And then later I'll decide if I want to do something different, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and rinse my hands. Okay? Looks like a very small amount. But it is 2 cloves. And actually one of the cloves were actually a little piece of that skin on there, okay? And again, my people, if you guys are using non-stick, then I'm sure you know the rule regarding, and it's using metal on non-stick, okay? So I've got metal spatulas, and I've also got some plastic or rubber, okay? And this already, my people, is smelling so, so good, okay? So I'm just going to let this cook for a little bit longer. I'm so tempted to add more. But if you guys have been with me from the first video, which was probably about, 8-9 weeks ago, you will see that if I'm doing something that is unfamiliar to me and I'm following a recipe, I usually really faithfully go by the recipe. And then later, I will go ahead and tweak it to my liking, as we all should, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead, and the smell of like roasted, sauteed garlic is just absolutely intoxicating, okay? So I'm just gonna let this cook for a little bit longer. And be mindful, my people, that garlic is, you can really eat fresh garlic if you so choose to. So this is not something where, if you eat it raw or you feel like it's a little more undercooked than you'd like, that anything is going to happen, okay? So now what the recipe actually says as well is at some point you go ahead, and we can let these cook down a little bit longer, but I'm just going to go ahead and move on because we actually want maybe some of these juices, okay, to get in with these beans. So my people, I've got my first can of beans. Bam, okay. And now I'm going for the second can of beans. Bam, 2 different types here. Okay. And now I'm just going to incorporate it all. Get it all in there together. And it still smells absolutely delicious, okay? So once these beans heat up a bit, we're actually just going to go ahead and get our mash on, okay? But I definitely want that garlic to really get in between all these layers of these beans, since it is 2 cans, okay? So I've actually got some minced garlic in the refrigerator as well. But again, I'm just going to go ahead and follow this recipe, okay? So what I'm going to do now, my people, what I suggest that you do is, if you see I've got some little peels over here from the garlic, I've got my grapeseed oil out that I could put away. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pause this video for now. I'm going to let this cook. You guys go ahead and clean up your mess, because it is always better that way when you're actually cleaning as you're cooking. So at the end, you can actually sit down, enjoy your meal without worrying about having to clean up after, okay? So stay with me, and we'll be right back. Okay, families, I'm back. So what I'm doing right now is I've got a plastic fork. And if you guys save any forks and utensils from, a takeout place, the black ones are actually pretty strong. And this is what I'm going to use because I don't have, any other, I guess, plastic silverware that I just, eat from, okay? So a lot of times I have these and I just usually keep them in my drawer. I'm sure we all have a drawer like this, okay? And as you see, this is still cooking, but I'm going to go ahead and turn this down. And then I'm just going to go ahead and get my smash on, okay? So just go ahead and get your smash on. Now, I don't eat burritos often, okay? But when I do, right, I don't like it all in sort of pureed form, okay? So, I like some whole beans in there. So this sort of, you can have the same sort of theory for that if you wanted to not mash them all up, right? But you actually just wanted to mash some of them and then have some sort of bigger pieces, okay? And as you can see how simple, my people, mind you, and I'm using a plastic fork, okay? So if you have a regular one, right? And I'm even going to mash it and act like I'm grinding it with my spatula because it's bigger and it's heavier. I might be able to get more done this way, okay? And as you can see, it's already coming along. Just smashing, 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 okay? So my people, there's no need for us to watch each other do this, okay? I'm going to pause the video again. I'm just going to finish mashing it up, okay? And then we'll go from there. Okay, family, so I'm back, and if we see how it's looking here, also if you notice that I really did keep some of my kidney beans intact, only because I'm going to make a few of the taquitos for this recipe. But what I'm also going to do, and what I sometimes recommend that you guys do, right, is I'm going to save some of this to make some actually homemade burritos. So I know my daughter, at least one of them for sure, shout out to you, Tanae, is going to love these. And of course, I've never made homemade burritos before, but this is definitely the base, okay? So my people, I'm going to leave that like that, okay? So that's why mine's extra chunky, okay? Because again, I'm going to use this for multiple purposes, okay? Now I'm just going to go ahead, my people, and sprinkle a little bit of the taco seasoning, okay? I don't want to go crazy. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some of the lime juice, okay? But what I like to do is just like even when I'm making tacos, right, I actually like to stir it all up first, okay, before I add the liquid. In my mind, it really incorporates better this way. And again, I don't know if there's any factual proof of that, right? But again, in my mind, I like to think so, okay? So now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to pour about, let's see, I'm going to say that's probably about a little less than a tablespoon, okay? Because again, and the same thing I used to tell my kids in my culinary arts class, is that a lot of times, no matter whenever you're adding a liquid, especially when you're eyeballing it, right? Like let's say you're making a frosting and you're just sort of eyeballing it, right? You always want to go very light, right? Because it's hard to fix when you have sort of poured too much liquid, okay? But if you just pour a little at a time, then you can just slowly add more if you should need to, okay? So since I've got my little fork here, I'm just going to go ahead and taste to see if it's to my liking. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more, actually, a little bit more than a little bit more. Because we also have to understand, my people, that these are kidney beans, okay? And so they definitely have a sort of starchy taste to them, okay? And again, because I'm using the same base for my burritos later, okay? Right? And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a little bit more lime juice, okay? Ooh. And that was probably about 2 tablespoons, okay? But again, we've got, it's like a lot of beans here, okay? I'm just going to go ahead and stir. And you can see it completely changed the color. Try one more. That's really good, okay? And I'm actually going to add A little bit more lime juice. Okay? And again, my people, this is what I'm saying. When you're eyeballing things, and when you're cooking, you really have to do it to your liking, okay? To your taste buds. And I would be telling a fib if I said this did not look delicious. I might go ahead and add a little bit more garlic powder and all this. So I'm going to turn off my stove now, okay? And as you see, the more you cook it, the more paste-like it becomes, okay? Bam. And what I've decided to do also, my people, is I'm going to add some onion powder. And again, I'm doing this to my liking, right? This is not in that recipe. I'm going to add some garlic powder. Right? Again, not in that recipe. And I'm going to add some ground pepper, okay? Some ground peppercorn. Why am I doing this, guys? I'm doing it for my own liking, okay? And because when I finish, and like I said, I make those burritos with this, I really don't want to have to do anything else, okay? Try it now. That's really good. Really, really good. Okay? Now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get the tortillas. Okay, so my people, I am back, and you guys are not seeing very much of my face today. So I've got some small flour tortillas, okay, if you can consider these small, okay, because there's some really large ones that a lot of times I use, right? So these are what I'm going to consider the small ones, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead, 1 spoon, 2 spoons, okay? And then the recipe also calls for some cheese, okay? So you can shred your own, which is a lot of times what I do. But this time I actually brought a blend, okay? This is called a taco style blend, okay? So I'm just gonna go ahead. I guess I don't wanna go too crazy at first, okay? So I've got this on here, my people, and I'm just gonna basically roll it up, okay? I'm gonna roll it up, and as we've done before, what you wanna do is you wanna have the little lip, as I call it, right? You want to have that at the bottom, okay? Bam, okay? So that's the first one done, my people. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest. I've got my oven right now preheated to 350. You know I like to use foil on my pans. It just makes for an easy cleanup. You guys finish yours. I'll finish mine. I'll be right back. Hey, families, and we are back. I have 4 out of the 6 taquitos, okay? And here they are. And if my son was here, shout out to you, my boo. What is our favorite part of the video, right? Is to taste. So I'm gonna go ahead and get one, and I've let these cool down a little bit. Okay, my people, excuse me. This is essentially a burrito. It's a burrito. Really, a beef and bean. I can't even say beef. A bean burrito. A bean and cheese burrito, okay? I mean, in the future, I'd probably go a little heavier on the cheese. But it is really good. So the fact that I just made my own bean, refried bean taquito, it is really delicious. Even in the future, right, it's like, I always say that this is sort of like a introductory to, right, like a culinary arts 101, right? So you start with a base or foundation, and then you build upon it, right, based upon your taste buds, right, and your likes. And so again, for this is delicious, right? So I actually would probably add maybe a little hot sauce to it. I could add some jalapeno to that, right, make a nice little dipping sauce, or add some jalapeno to the salsa. My daughter liked the guacamole so much last week that she asked me to make her some more. So I just got the supplies to do that, and I definitely probably dip this in the guacamole as well. And I use a regular chili seasoning packet, but my people, a lot of times what I do is I buy a spicy packet as well. And so even in the future, I may go ahead and use that just because I like my stuff a little bit spicy. But my people, this was really good. I made 6, and like I said, this recipe could have easily made 12 and probably more because, again, I put 2 big dollops in mine. You could even split it up, half cheese, half burrito. You can make this with taco meat, right? Whether it's ground beef, ground chicken, ground turkey, right? If you get fancy schmancy and have you some lamb, you can use chicken with it, right? So this is, again, another versatile recipe. You can easily feed a family of 5 with this, with each person getting at least 2. And these are very filling. So if you've got a kid 5 or under, or even 6, 7 or under, one of these would definitely do the trick. And then maybe you have a side or something with that. And it really is almost like the equivalent to a finger food, right? So this would be something really good too, to even sort of serve at parties, right? To just sort of take something, grab and go and put a nice little dipping sauce. So my people, that was really good. And so I am proud of myself, because not only did I make a taquito, right? I now have the base for burritos. So my people, you guys are wonderful. Thank you for tuning in each and every week, and I will see you next time. Bye.